Have you ever watched a Thrift with Me YouTube video or even a TikTok or Instagram reel and thought, sweet, I want to go thrifting to find items like that too? Only to get to the store and leave super frustrated because it was a ton of mayhem. There was stuff everywhere and you had no idea what to look for or what was worth it. Trust me, I have totally been there, and for years I had no idea or couldn't wrap my head around what the appeal was to thrifting until a few years ago. I changed my way of thinking and found some great tips and tricks that helped me furnish our old house as well as this new one we moved into last August, and I have decorated so much of this house with thrifted items for pennies on the dollar than I would have spent if I were to buy them in the store. So come along thrifting with me and then come home and style it so I can share all of my tips and tricks so you are finding gems too every time you go to the thrift store. This is Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney, and on this channel I share all things DIY and budget home decor related. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to hit subscribe so you can join the craft buddies and DIY right along with us. Now, my first tip is before you're even going to leave your house, and that is my one in, one out rule. I have shared this in every single thrift video that I share because I think it's that important. Always make sure to scan your house and find some items that you are ready to part with and take them with you, especially if your store that you're going to shop at has a donation center. I like to donate local if I can. You can also donate to local churches because they do rummage sales, things like that. But it is really nice to get the clutter out before you bring anything else in so you're not just compiling junk in your house. You can bring things in and you'll have more of an open mind to be able to style it and DIY it if needed.
Tip number one, and I would argue one of the most important, is to go open-minded and pack your patience. You typically see a lot of my awesome finds, but sometimes I walk out of thrift stores empty-handed. And if you go in thinking, we'll see how this goes, it's a much more enjoyable experience than having a list and being bummed you didn't find everything. Now here's a tip for while you're shopping. I know there's people on both sides of this, but I always get a cart and I put the items in there if I'm deciding. If I'm on the fence, it goes in the cart and then I can always put it back later, but if you leave it and come back, somebody's probably going to snatch it while I'm deciding, and then I am out of luck. So put it in the cart. That's kind of your purgatory versus thinking about it on the shelf. I like to go during the week, like Monday through Friday, because of restocks over the weekend, but you can also ask an employee when they restock at the specific store. I usually try to avoid weekends if at all possible because it does get crazy, especially if you go somewhere that has a lot of resellers. That can get intense. So I try to steer clear of that. Now on this particular day, I was looking for rustic baskets, so that's the aisle I started on. Just pick what you're gravitated to first to hopefully start on a high note. I was so excited when I turned the corner and saw this huge picnic basket up on the top shelf. It's so important to check all the shelves because if I didn't look up, I wouldn't see it. It was in great condition. The inside looked great as well. You want to make sure you check that. And it was only $5. So I knew I had to bring this home. I like to clean my baskets one of two ways. One is with warm soapy water, but this was bigger than my sink. So I decided to take all of these items I grabbed on this run and take it outside and give it a really good spray with this Lysol disinfectant spray. It's aerosol, so it doesn't drench the material and ruin it, but it does kill all of those germs. And I knew just the spot for it underneath this console table in our living room. I added this little tote blanket that I've had for years, making sure the fringe stuck out the side, and it turned out great. And it's also great for storage. I can hide anything in there that I want. You could also get a similar look with an open basket. It doesn't have to be a picnic basket. Now I also grabbed this kind of bowl basket and I wanted to show a fun way that I am using it. Instead of having it be open, holding like fruit or something, I flipped it over to act as a riser to give some texture to this setup. This wood vase I got from a boutique recently. I have my DIY little Pottery Barn inspired cement bowl with some filler, some candlesticks from Hobby Lobby, and this is such a fun vignette on that same table. A few other ways you can use baskets is to kind of center a grouping. So the basket and the vase here are from Goodwill. And I also love this woven basket as hidden in plain sight storage underneath the table in our front room. As I'm looking for baskets specifically, I keep in mind alternative uses as well, like storage, but also for waste baskets. You can also paint them or use twine to add a fun addition, like this Pottery Barn lookalike I made with Dollar Tree twine on a basket. I'll link that tutorial down below. It's super quick and easy, and it makes a secondhand item look super high end. Lamps are another thing that have come in clutch going secondhand versus buying for this new home, and something a lot of people struggle with is seeing past icky shades, funky colors, you know, all the things that don't really fit with your style right now. And you can always replace lampshades, so that's never a deal breaker. I just go to Walmart or Target to get ones that are on trend for a good price. And you just want to make sure that the lamp is working. I always check the cord and test those lamps before I leave if I can, because some stores will have power strips like this and bulbs in those lamps. So you can just plug it in, see if it will power up, and you know what you're getting into before you leave the store. Now, if your lamp doesn't work, that is not an absolute deal breaker, because you can also use battery powered lights to make it work, and then you also don't have to have it plugged in. I have a favorite brand from Amazon that I will link down below if you find a lamp that you need a bulb for. Now, this particular lamp was a score that day because it was totally my vibe without any DIYing. I just needed a lampshade and it was only $6.99. For this other one, I really loved the woven texture, but it was a little bit darker, so I just went ahead and spray painted it with smoky beige. I just made sure to tape over the top part where the light bulb goes in, as well as the cable and the plug at the bottom, just to make sure you don't get any paint in the electrical, and voila, much better. If you don't find a lamp that is already textured like mine, but you like the look, you can DIY it, which I have also done in a recent video, so I will link that DIY for you so you can check it out. So if you find a shape that you like, but maybe it's not the color, this one actually used to be pink, I'll show you how to make it over quick and easy and get that look for much less than buying it. I love to check the vases and pitcher section, especially because you can find some really fun items for a variety of things. Obviously, one being decor, but like this pink one, I ended up getting it on sale for $2.50. I wanted to keep it for the next time I need to give someone flowers. I can arrange it in it, give it to them. I also love to buy my hurricane vases from here because they're going to be $10+ at other stores, and you can get them for a couple bucks here. Just clean them up and they are good to go. Another thing you can do with vases or pitchers is add that texture that I showed you before on the lamp. You could just give it a really fun makeover. I love the way that this black one turned out. I just put some faux florals in it in my living room, and it looks very modern rustic, modern organic, without having to spend a ton of money because it was not super trendy before. You just add some DIY and it's good to go. Really think beyond the color in the store, because you can always change the color and you can even change the texture. So if you've got a shape that you love, grab it, bring it home, and you can DIY it quickly and easily. I love to look for anything that is wood, brass, terracotta, or even amber glass when I'm in the thrift store, because all of those items are super easy to incorporate into my decor. So maybe wood, brass, terracotta, or amber glass aren't your vibe, but think about, do you like a lot of bling? Do you like crystals? Do you like wood touches? Think about what's in your home right now, or maybe what you hoped would be in your home, and stick that on your list so when you're looking, it's in the back of your mind. Now, I'm not a huge fan of going for soft goods at the thrift store, but I do like to check the fabric and linens, and here's why. You can usually find some great items that you can run through your washing machine and make sure that they're disinfected and clean. This scarf right here is perfect. I am just going to throw it over this chair, which is also thrifted. It allows for this really beautiful and cozy vibe without having the thickness of a blanket over your chair, especially in the summertime, but even in the winter, you can use this on things like blanket ladders, over couches, and you can get that draped blanket look for a fraction of the cost and also a fraction of that extra bulk. So keep that in mind. I have also done that with a chunky knit scarf here on my blanket ladder, and this has been beautiful to leave up year-round. I absolutely love finding these vintage looking crock containers at the thrift store, and I did see on TikTok that you can take citrus strip to remove the paint. Now, I personally haven't done it myself, but I will link the TikTok down below so you can check it out. I love the platters and the serveware section, as well as like the little tea set area. You can find some really beautiful items. I have used some of these little teacups as well to make candles, which is a really fun gift or just a unique piece of decor you can put in your house. Records plus sheet music are always a visit for me. Sheet music is great for DIYs, and the records are perfect if you have a record player, or if you can find some seasonal records, you can use that as decor as well. I always check the candle holders. You can pretty much always find tall, skinny candle holders, and you can make them over super easy with some spray paint. Again, this is where maybe the color or the vibe is not matching your house. Quick spray paint and you're good to go. One of my favorite ways to decorate lately are with books. I love to check the section for the hardcover ones. You just need to look down the spine. Any book that looks like a great neutral from my house, I pull it out, I remove the jacket, and see if it works. Now, I love the large coffee table books, but I also like smaller ones as well because you can usually stack 3, and you can either display them with the spine facing out if you find spines that fit your aesthetic, or just flip it around and show the pages. That's beautiful as well. Mirrors are also great to buy secondhand. I found this one recently and shared it in my Pottery Barn inspired DIY video. And it was awesome because all I had to do was take a little bit of Easy Off oven cleaner, spray it on the wood, scrub it off a couple times, leave it in the sun, and it really pulled out that orangey tone. It got rid of the finish. And so I had a nice, beautiful raw wood mirror, which I absolutely love. Another option is to create a front face for your mirror. In that same video, I did that as well. Just created this nice box. I distressed it and I was able to get a Pottery Barn lookalike for $30 versus $500. That included the wood as well as the mirror that I got at the thrift store. I also love to look for craft blanks at the thrift store. You can usually find some really cheap signs like this that you can either paint over or sand off the paint, and then you are good to paint, add a printable, add a Cricut stencil or decal, and it's a lot cheaper than buying even a blank one at the store. Photo frames are also an amazing thing to get secondhand and thrifted because every single time I go, I am always finding at least something. Now, these are great to add printables into or add your own photos to a photo ledge. And also bonus points if it already has a mat in there, if it's a larger frame, because it's way easier to fit your own print into something if there is already a mat in the frame, and that's less cost for you. I love these different textured wood ones that I recently got. And when I got home and opened this kind of light wood one, it looked like it may have been from like maybe a Hobby Lobby or a Ross originally, but it was actually hand carved and it looked like somebody got it on a vacation. So it was worth a lot more than originally anticipated. I think it's beautiful and it fits really well in our decor. These other two are really nice too to add some texture. All of them are under $3 and it is a really nice way. Just bring them home. I clean them up with a disinfectant as well as some Windex and you're good to go. The seasonal sections are always great to check, especially during the off season of the season you're looking for. Now that sounds like a tongue twister, but broken down, basically, I mean, right now in July is a great time to look for Christmas stuff. It's also a great time to start looking for fall stuff because not everybody has gotten on that fall Halloween train quite yet. I like to grab things like pumpkins that are timeless for fall. And this is also a great time that I like to stock up on any Christmas village houses that I find. We now are creating a larger Christmas village around the holidays for Finn because we have a Lionel train that he got from his grandpa. But if you buy everything new for Christmas village, it's just way too much. So I found a lot of these thrifted for a couple bucks and it just really makes a lot more sense. I also was able to find this beautiful Norman Rockwell book last year before Christmas. There are also beautiful wreaths and signs and things. So just make sure that you are looking under, over, around things and you can find a great selection of seasonal items. Now this one can be hit or miss, but it's worth mentioning because when you hit, you can usually hit big, and that is the faux floral / wreath section. I like to check it out because the planters in there are usually really pretty. They, at least the Goodwill by me, sections them separately from your other vases, and so you can usually find some awesome items there. But actually within the faux florals, like this hydrangea set I got, you're not going to find this many hydrangeas on their own at like a Michael's or any other store that sells them for $6. So I just brought it home. I took my tin snips and I popped off the hydrangeas on the top. Then I took the pieces and sectioned them together just with some jute twine, wrapped it around the bottom, and then I re-added some leaves where I felt they were necessary, and I was able to have 3 different setups of hydrangeas throughout my house for $5.99. There's no way you're getting that many hydrangea stems of this size for that price unless you find them on extreme clearance, so definitely check it out because you can always find some winners there. Now, when you find something that you like, woohoo, thoroughly check it and make sure there isn't anything hiding in it, and keep in mind how you're going to clean it when you get home. Now, this might feel a little woo-woo to some of you, but I do really like to visualize and manifest what I am looking for, and I find it does work. I keep a running list in my notes app of what I'm looking for to help me keep on task. And I also like to say right before I walk in, what's meant for me will be. It takes a lot of the stress out and you can just go in and see what treasures you find. I heard that on a TikTok a while ago and it really helps me just alleviate the stress, and just see what's in there waiting for me. If you're trying to furnish anything from a whole room up to a whole house, you got to remember that this is a long game. I do like to try and hit up multiple thrift stores in a day if I can. That helps with my odds, but you're not going to go in and hit the jackpot of everything that you want. But little by little, you can find curated pieces, and it really helps make a house a home.
I hope this gave you a ton of tips and tricks to get you into the thrift store or back if you've been frustrated before, and helping you find those gem unique items that are really going to set your space apart. If you loved this video, I also have one dedicated completely to Christmas thrifted decor, so I will link that here on the screen for you so you can check that out, because the holidays will be here before you know it, and now's the time, believe it or not, to start looking for those seasonal items. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your favorite tip down in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!